You're not just tired, you're drained to the point where even rest doesn't bring you back. You open tasks and feel no resistance, not because it's easy, but because there's nothing left inside to resist. And at some point, a thought appears: something is wrong with me. I've become weaker. I've lost my edge. I can't keep up. But the problem isn't you. The problem is how this is designed. Burnout feels like a personal failure, as if you just couldn't handle the pressure, but it's not a failure. It's a result, not an accident, a structure, not weakness, a scenario. People think burnout is when there's too much work. In reality, it's when your resources are systematically drained without any point of recovery. It's not overload that breaks you, it's the lack of an exit from it. Now let's break down how this is created. First, the volume increases. You're given more tasks, tighter deadlines, higher expectations. You think it's temporary, just a phase. But temporary never ends. The workload becomes the background. This isn't a peak, it's the new normal. Then the boundaries blur. Work starts leaking into evenings, weekends, the spaces between everything else. You think it's just a busy period, but it has no end. There's no place left where the system doesn't reach you. This isn't busyness, it's the absence of an exit. Next, control disappears. You're responsible for results, but you don't influence the conditions. Deadlines come from above. Resources don't increase. Priorities shift without explanation. You think, I just need to organize better. But the problem isn't organization. The problem is that your leverage is gone. This isn't responsibility. It's load without power. Then comes devaluation. You close tasks, solve problems, carry difficult parts. And in return, silence. Or a restrained, okay. You think, that's just how it works here. But this is how the link between effort and recognition gets erased. You invest and receive no return of energy. This isn't a modest culture, it's a broken feedback loop. And the next step is predictable. You start reducing your internal response. Not because you want to, but because otherwise you won't last. You stop fully engaging, stop caring, stop fighting. It looks like apathy, but in reality it's a defense mechanism. And here's the key moment. When you have no energy, you don't argue. When you're exhausted, you don't resist. When you're drained, you agree faster than you can think. You think, I'm just tired. But the system gets the ideal state. An employee who doesn't conflict, doesn't demand, doesn't change the rules. Not because they agree, but because they can't do otherwise. This isn't a side effect, it's a convenient outcome. And now the picture comes together. The workload becomes constant. Boundaries disappear, control is gone, feedback is cut off, your response fades, and in this structure you don't collapse instantly. You shut down gradually, first from emotions, then from meaning, then from yourself. That's burnout. Now, an important turning point. The way out isn't to pull yourself together and work harder. And it's not just taking a few days off. The way out is to start seeing where your resources are being taken. Where workload comes without boundaries. Where responsibility comes without influence. Where effort isn't returned with recognition. Where there's no point at which the system stops pressing on you. And then, not to be a hero inside it, but to stop automatically accepting it as normal. Don't give all your attention away without limits. Don't agree to conditions that erase you. Don't confuse patience with the obligation to endure everything. This isn't about weakness. It's about reclaiming control over your resources. The world won't change. These systems will continue to exist. The workload won't disappear on its own, but you can stop pushing yourself to the point where you have no choice left. You can stop earlier, see earlier, react earlier. And in that moment, a shift happens. You stop being someone who is driven into burnout and become someone who understands how it's done. And that means you're no longer so easy to control.